Hello, and welcome to the podcast Fly with Mel. If you're an overthinker, a high performer, or simply someone trying to understand yourself better, you are in the right place. Here, we talk about mindset, change of environment, self-love, relationships, and all the real-life messiness that comes with becoming who you are and who you want to be. If you're ready to transform your life, understand yourself on a deeper level, and finally break old patterns, sit tight. I'm Mel, a certified life coach and NLP Master practitioner, and I use this platform to share self-reflections and conversations with the people I meet along the way. Because I truly believe that everyone you meet has something to teach you. So take a seat and enjoy the flight. Most people look outside for answers, but the power is inside. Today, we're talking about why you feel stuck, why overthinking or self-doubt keeps you from moving forward, and how you can start rewriting your story today. Maybe you've tried advice from books, podcasts, or even talked to several friends to get advices, but still nothing seems to change drastically in your life. Well, let me tell you the good news. You are not broken. Your brain is just running on old programs. So what are these programs, you may ask? Those were designed to keep you safe, but not to help you grow, to help you create, or to feel truly fulfilled. Haha, no, it would be too easy, right? Here is what usually happens with overthinkers or high performers. If you are one of them, you might find yourself in this list. First, you chase perfection, thinking if you just do everything right, life will finally feel good. But let's be honest, you know that there will always be something else coming up in your plate. I know, I've been there too. The second thing on that list is that you wait for validation from others before taking action. You always ask confirmation, you always ask for advice, you ask for external view on whatever you're trying to do. The third thing is that you follow rules or advices that worked for someone else, but not for you. And when that doesn't work, you feel stuck, you feel frustrated, or even exhausted. And I'm really talking from a place of knowing it because myself, I've been in those loops to the point where I couldn't even take the right decisions without shaking anymore. I also started to be all over the place to finally end up nowhere or very, very far from where I wanted to be. Have you been there before? You know, when you're trying to do so many things at the same time because you want to take so many different directions. And in the end, nothing is done. Too many things have started. Nothing is ending. I know what it feels like to fight for your worth every single day, often without even realizing it. Because yes, let's be clear, this is about fighting for your worth. So why do you keep repeating these patterns? Well, it all comes back to old thought loops. Your brain loves safety. It really prefers what is familiar, so familiar thought, even if it's the kind of thought that really makes you unhappy. You know, self-doubt, overthinking, procrastination. They all feel very protective. Like they whisper to you, better not risk it. Even when your heart is screaming, I want more. Here is the empowering part. You already have all the answers inside of you. Yes, you do. Most people look outside for them. In the next book, in the next podcast, in the next piece of advice. But the real transformation starts when you stop listening to others and start listening to yourself. That's also exactly why I started coaching. Because I love seeing people's eyes light up when they have a breakthrough and finally understand something for themselves. It's not about giving them the answer. It's really about pointing out the right tips, the right things, nudging the right buttons, shining a light on what's been hiding in the shadow on their mind for so many years. So if you're listening right now and thinking, okay, I want to start implementing change, where do I start, Mel? So, here is a simple way to start. You can just take 5 minutes a day to pause and to ask yourself these 3 following questions. Just maybe take a notebook, something like take just a 5 minutes for yourself. at peace, in a quiet space. Like, don't start to listen to music or I don't know, like, don't be in a noisy environment. You really need to focus on your brain and what your brain has to say. So here are the 3 questions. The first one is, what do I really want right now? What do I really want right now? The second question is, what feels aligned with me, not what others expect? What feels aligned with me, not with what others expect? That's a deep one, because it's really about you and centering on you, not what society, family, friends, or any other people expect from you. What feels really aligned with you and not with the others? And the third question is, if I trusted myself, what would I do next? If I trusted myself, what would I do next? So these 3 questions can be like 3 small stuff, but if you really practice that every day, maybe even for a week, you really sit down with yourself and you try to answer them, you might find some answers. You might find some stuff that were not so clear to you, but suddenly they open up and they're just like, oh my God, yes, that's what I really want. Yes, that's what really feels aligned. Yes, I trust myself to achieve that, you know? These little small practices, really, it can rewire your brain. It can really help you. It reminds your mind that you can make decisions, that your inner voice is trustworthy, and that you are capable of taking actions without waiting for permission. And that is very important. Now, once you start listening to yourself, the next step is rewriting your story. Of course, because you have a whole story stuck in your brain that is blocking you from doing whatever the hell you want to do in your life. You keep repeating some patterns, some behaviors that you've learned since you're a kid, because it's just like a system already in your brain. You know, it's like your brain is a machine and it's wired a certain way. You cannot just unwire it just like that. So here is a simple framework for you. First, identify an old limiting story you keep telling yourself, which can come from thoughts like, I'm not enough, I'll never succeed, I will never be able to do XYZ. Once you recognize it, because it's not a fact, right? It's just an old trap in your brain. It's an old thing that your brain really keeps repeating. So just find it, identify it, write it down. The second step is to challenge that thought, challenge that story, and really ask yourself, is this really true? Or is it just my brain trying to protect me from a threat, from something, right? Because that's what the brain does. It tries to protect you from threats. But most of the time, those things are not threats. It's just because your brain has been wired this way. You know, our ancestors have been trying to protect themselves from big threats, from being killed. And so their brain has been wired that way, from protecting them from danger, big danger. But the danger we have today, when it's like a thought like, I am not enough, I don't think there is a big danger here about your life, right? So challenge that story. And the third step is really to replace that story, replace that thought with another empowering narrative. So, for example, instead of waiting for someone to approve your next move, maybe decide yourself, like tell yourself, I trust myself to start small, to start right now with the aligned actions, with one small step. I trust myself that I can do it, even if it's slower than others, even if it's whatever. Don't even compare yourself to others. Maybe just compare yourself to the person you were yesterday, right? The person you were yesterday was not even able to start and to do that small step. But the person you are today is trying to take action. And that is the rewarding thing. That is when your brain is starting to rewire itself, right? And that's really the magic of it all. Small aligned actions can gradually rewrite your whole story. These little actions can build momentum. They show your brain that taking risk doesn't have to be scary. In fact, it can be very, very liberating. And you will see that the more you do it, the better it feels. So to wrap up this episode, here is what I want you to really take away from today. First thing is really you are not broken. And I want to insist on that because I hear so many people coming to me for coaching and telling me, Mel, I'm lost. I feel like something is wrong with me. Maybe I have a problem. And then, people sometimes like they put themselves in a box, I have this, I have that, ADHD, AD this, AD that. And so whenever you do that, there's nothing wrong with knowing what condition you may have. The wrong thing for me that I see is when you put yourself stuck in a box with the label of that condition, and then you think you cannot get out of it. And then you find excuses for whatever things you want to do in life because you can't, because you think that that condition is stopping you from doing things that you would like to do. And this is so wrong. I think it is great to know why you're doing things, why you are wired a certain way, why your brain is acting a certain way. But don't stay stuck in that box. You can challenge the story you have on that label. You can challenge it. Maybe if you start to tell yourself, I have this condition and this is a gift. I have this condition and it's in fact a superpower. I can make magic with it. I can use it differently. This is what makes me unique. Maybe when you start to do that, that's where you think outside the box and outside the label. And you start, in fact, finally to live your life truly, to live a life that feels like yours and like you. So, really, just keep that in mind. You are not broken. Your brain is wired for safety, not for happiness. That is just the way it is. This is fact. This is science. This is neuroscience. I am not making things up here. So the real answers are inside you, not outside. And start small, trust yourself, and take one aligned action today if you can. It's not just about listening to me and listening to podcast episode more and more and more. It's really about listening and implementing something. Take action. Do the 3 question steps that I just said earlier. Do something, one little thing, even if it's just one little action, one little change for today. If you can just take one thing from this episode, let it be that you can stop looking outside for permission and really start listening to yourself. You don't need others for permission. You can trust yourself to do the things that you want that are going to be good for your life. Okay? So that's it for today. That's it for that episode. And I really hope that you found some little nuggets that could help you today. And next time, we're going to talk about how to deal with fear and self-doubt and when you actually try to take action. Because yes, your brain will fight it too, but there is always a way through. Thank you for listening to Fly with Mel. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, share, and leave a review. It will really, really help me to reach more people who need to hear these messages. And remember, the power to change your story is already in you.